Welcome to Watching Worst Films, the podcast in which we will be watching every Razzie Worst Picture winner. We are taking a break from scheduled programming to bring you our second special, which is the 2022 motion picture Morbius.
It is indeed.
My name is Jericho, and with me...
And my name is Kyle. Hello.
So, if things sound a bit weird, we are trialing Zoom recording for the first time. So
long distance.
let's hope we can recapture the Dr. Michael Morbius Milo energy when we're separated by.
I think it's only fitting that all our specials have the worst sound quality available. It's a nice recurring feature, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. History with this film, Kyle. What was your background with Dr. Michael Morbius?
Honestly, nothing. I know the memes. I know all the Morbin times. I know
That's something.
I know about it being reissued. I know about the film and its place in pop culture, but I'm not, and I had no intention to ever see this either. I was like, I'm not going to be one of the people that catches in on the meme. I'm just going to stand my ground. I've said it before, I think before on the Fantastic Four podcast, I'm done with superhero cape shit films.
You were Team Minions, weren't you?
You
were like, yeah, we'll go to I'll go to the cinema in a tuxedo, but I draw the line at watching Morbius.
I think it's because I kept bringing it up to you. I did do a little bit of reading while watching the film, so I have a little bit more knowledgeable now. But yeah, not a clue. What about you?
So I've seen this film. I saw this film on original release in the cinema. I knew the character of Dr. Michael Morbius. I don't think I've ever read him, ever encountered him in a comic, but he was in the animated Spider-Man show.
Okay.
And he was really creepy in that, because he had the sort of Eastern European, I want to Felicia, I want to suck your blood.
I thought he was basically just the Count though, right?
A little bit, yeah. Outwardly, but he's like a science vampire, and he has these suckers on his hands. And so that's how he sucks your blood in the cartoon.
That's quite cool. Actually.
Obviously, it's rated U, so he's not. I don't think he kills people. I think he just sucks their blood, and they have a weird sort of blotch on their face, and then they wake up 3 hours later, be like, "Whoa, what happened?" So I was aware of the character of Michael Morbius, and I kind of liked him. He creeped me out as a kid, but it was interesting, his parallels with Spider-Man of you've got a guy who has been genetically combined with a spider and got all the benefits of that, and then you've got another guy who has been fused with a bat and seemingly has only the bad parts of that.
Mm-hmm. So
with Spider-Man's villains all being sort of quite sciencey, I thought Michael Morbius was an interesting kind of character.
No, that's I read the Spider-Man comics as well, but I don't remember. I do not remember more. He wasn't in any of my fucking. I mean, I had all the Clone Saga or whatever it was. I think that the worst period of Spider-Man, so that's what I'm used to. But
I want to say Morbius was round about then. I think he was in the 90s, kind of the hey, what's cool? Kids like clones and vampires, don't they?
But vampires weren't cool yet. This wasn't. They hadn't had the revival, did they? Well, Interview with a Vampire, I guess.
I think this was probably in the middle of one of their many revivals.
Yeah, very true.
And with this film, I'd seen Venom. Embarrassingly, I saw Venom opening day. I was doing an acting showcase, so we were in rehearsals all day, and then we had the showcase at night, and they were okay, you've got 2 hours to go get food in between, and I was forget food, I'm gonna go see Venom. So I would loosely say I'm a fan of the Sony Spider-Man. I mean, I'm not, but I liked Venom because it was Tom Hardy doing weird voices, and just it was just Tom Hardy given free rein to ham it up.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was okay, Morbius could be there could be something here.
I think I've only seen
how wrong I was.
The Sony films with you, because what Amazing Spider-Man did we go see? First one, second one? I can't remember now.
Well, we saw two together.
Yeah, okay, two.
One we spoke about separately because
yeah.
one's the Crane film.
Yeah.
And then two we saw in Glasgow.
That's exactly it. So like I've seen since Amazing Spider-Man 2, I've seen Fantastic Four with you, and yeah, like I don't.
No, that's completely different. That's Fox.
Oh, I
this
don't
is
know.
Sony.
I can't keep up. I'm a boomer. I can't do this. But anyway, yeah. So into the film.
Into the film.
Yes. So you want to walk us through the fucking plot, I guess?
Well, I was gonna say it might be better if you do it because I've already seen it, so I kind of lost that objectivity. But I can do my best.
Yeah. No, you're gonna.
So
you pick this one. I'm not walking through Morbius. This is all
okay.
you.
We should probably cover that as well. Why we selected this film.
Yes.
So we covered Hunter last time in our last special as what we thought would be like the front runner for the top prize and most of the acting nominations, to be honest.
Definitely.
Like the big hitter at next year's Razzies. And what we kind of spoke about there is that the main thing standing in its path is the figure of Dr. Michael Morbius. Because this is probably like the biggest competition, I think.
And we were right to think that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I before watching this, I don't know. I still assumed Hunter was going to be worse in terms of like Hunter's going to be the winner. It's going to surely sweep it. But no, now I get it. Now I'm clued up. I've spent an hour and a half watching this, and yeah, like I'm glad. I'm not glad, but I think we were right in picking this to be the Razzie winner, I guess. Because I don't think there's any way Fox is going to win over Leto. I don't think. I think Matt Smith's guaranteed. Because they're going to want Mr. Razzie will want to dunk on it. He'll want to meme it up a year out of date. So yeah, 100%. I'm glad we picked this one. The right call.
Yeah, it's kind of like we've kind of spoken about it before. There are two types of Razzie nominees. There's either like the plucky people punching above their weight, like the Tommy Wiseau's trying to make something, which I would say that's what Robert Davi is.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like the Hollywood A-listers, the big studio things with all the money in the world, all the resources, just completely shitting the bed and making something like atrocious. So I think My Son Hunter and Morbius cover both sides. It's the yin and yang of the Razzies.
Oh no, 100%. And if My Son Hunter swung in a funnier way or a worse way, then I could understand it. But this is going to beat My Son Hunter. I can guarantee it.
You are remembering that My Son Hunter ends with Donald Trump winning the election after someone
what's the post-credit scene of My Son Hunter? You know, what's the second post-credit scene? Like, there's more than 5 people in that film.
Okay, so back to the film.
Yes.
It starts off with the music, which I actually to get off topic once again, I think the music in Venom is pretty good.
Okay.
Like not the Eminem titular song, but it has a nice kind of like theme. And the music to Morbius, I was like, what does this remind me of? This sounds like it's ripping something off. But it is the Venom theme of the do do.
I mean, I actually had a one note on the music because it's shit. And like there isn't a Morbius theme, and I don't know what I'm expecting. I don't expect most superhero films now to have like a classic Superman score or
like
anything.
John Williams.
Yeah, there's not going to be John. There's not going to be a Danny Elfman or anything. Like, yeah, I don't expect that anymore. But I expect something. There was parts of this movie where I was like, I actually looked up. I was like, who did the music to this? Because this is the most bland, generic. I mean.
It was 30 Seconds to Mars, right?
I would have preferred 30 Seconds to Mars. So like even when the opening, you know, like it's a vampire film, so I'm expecting some sort of gothic, like, you know, theme of some sort, like I don't want to keep on already harkening on about it, but compared to Blade, like Blade, I know Blade soundtrack, like.
Well, Blade starts with New Order,
yes.
so you're not going to top that, are you? I think we might have got the answer to how do you fix this film immediately, is you just put New Order over the top.
Fucking Blade on. Play on Blade too. So, but I'll try not to. I mean, again, that's one thing I actually read about Morbius was intended to be a Blade crossover and was filmed or something for the original Blade film. But I promise, for the sake of the sanity of the listeners, I'm not going to just go on about Blade for 2 hours, so I'll stop it there as much as I want to.
So yeah, it starts off with like an okay piece of music, and it starts off with that kind of like synthwave graphic of like the Morbius logo coming into view, which when I saw it in the cinema and when I saw it again an hour ago, both times I was like, oh, hey, I might enjoy this. This is set in a nice tone. And then it's all downhill from there.
Well, yeah. So, like, after the synthwave... I mean, I had watched this intro 5 times, so I fucking hate it.
Yeah, apologies.
It opens with a flashback in one of the islands of Greece. I can't even remember what island it is.
No. It starts with him in the cave. You get like a minute of the cave, don't you? Like the helicopter landing, and then it goes to Greece for some reason.
Yes. I don't understand the Greece flashback, but whatever.
So we touch down in darkest Peru. Dr. Michael Morbius exits a helicopter and he sees a curtain and some bats, and then we're in Greece.
Yes. So yeah, we're in Greece with I don't know how old these might be, like 12 or something. But anyways, it's a young Michael Morbius, who is played by a young Jared Leto. I don't know who he's played by, but there's a kid version of him, and he gets introduced to his brother. What is he? You're gonna have to help me out here. Milo, who is
Milo? He's like his roommate.
Yeah, okay.
He's
like they share the same disease. I don't know.
They're in a home for the Greek home for boys with blood diseases, and I've forgotten what Milo's name actually
Lucian.
is.
I was going to bring this up.
Lucian,
of course. I cannot remember why he becomes Lucian to Milo, and I just watched the fucking thing.
So Lucian comes in with Jared Harris, and then Jared Leto's like, Milo. And he's like, my name's Lucian. He's like, nah, you're Milo. And he's like, huh? And he's like, that's Milo's bed. You're replacing the old Milo. He replaced the old Milo. I can't remember the original Milo, but anyway, Milo's lie in that bed and they die. So, hey Milo, I'm not going to bother learning your name. You're Milo.
No, exactly. And so the doctor is Jared Harris.
Yeah.
He's not their dad though, right?
No, he's kind of like an adoptive father. Of like he like you can tell he's like very paternal in the way he looks after those boys, but he's not biologically or indeed like societally tied to them. He's just a nice doctor. We don't really learn about their parents at all, do we? They're just kind of like, well, sorry, Michael Morbius, you have a rare blood disease, so we're disowning you and sending you to this home.
Yes. I mean, and this is why I got confused. This is why when we were watching it, we're chatting. So spoiler alert, I thought they were already vampires. I don't know why it was a home for vampires and that was a special blood disease or something, and that it was killing him because he's a vampire, and he's like, I don't know, I have no idea what the rules are. So I completely, despite watching, I did pay attention as well, I promise. I completely got this fucking film wrong because it jumped 25 years or whatever into the current day, and Morbius, now played by Jared Leto, now looking like a fucking vampire as well. Looking a bit like John Wick as well, I thought. He is declining a prize when we see him, right?
Yeah, it's in Sweden, so presumably it's the Nobel Prize.
Oh, right, yeah, okay. Just like Bob Dylan,
he's declining
it.
Hang on, he's not, because he's there.
Yeah, he turned up to decline.
Like, he's on stage. Jared Harris introduces him,
Yeah.
and then next thing you know, he's with one of his patients, and he's like, "Yeah, I let down the committee, the king of Sweden, his subjects, all of Scandinavia, and pretty much the entire world. But I got you a program." And yeah, that just makes no sense. So it's like, what? So you were there, but then you suddenly got like your pager went off, and you're like, I need to fly back to New York this instant.
Well, the only reason you should go on stage and decline a Nobel is if you're gonna say, "I know everybody here fucked their way to the top just like I did." Lowly lady your way out there. But yeah, so for some reason he goes in person, declines the award, next scene I think is in his lab. I think.
So we missed out the scene where Milo is about to die because Milo's blood machine breaks.
Oh yeah.
And things start going off, and you're like child Milo is alarms start going off because his machine breaks, and Dr. Michael Morbius fixes it with a pen. And saves Milo's life. And Jared Harris is really impressed, and he's like, "Wow, like you're brilliant, like the greatest minds." Like Reed Richards would take an N64 to fix this, but you did it with a pen. And then that kind of leads into the Nobel Prize, is we're like, Dr. Michael Morbius is going to make it his life goal to save people and to help people. And then you see he's a doctor working with people with rare blood conditions.
Yes.
And so he's helping that little girl. And then he hops on the helicopter back to darkest Peru to find Paddington and these bats, which he believes might hold the cure.
That's it. The Costa Rica bats that he smuggled out.
The Costa Rica bats.
See, I can't believe this because I just watched this fucking film, and I just spoke about that scene with you, with the spring, and it's just gone out my brain. This film is, it's been something special. We are, I don't remember names here. This is why I needed you, because he's with his female doctor friend.
I'm even worse. I remember you at least got Lucian. I was like, it's Milo, Dr. Michael Morbius, and Jared Harris. That's all I can remember.
Well, and I joked about this while we were watching. There is actually only about 5 people in this film. There's nobody. There's no other characters. It's so fucking weird and empty.
It's funny because this was delayed because of the pandemic, but otherwise it has like the air of like a stage play or something. Like someone got together and was like, you know what, we're gonna make like a superhero movie with only like 5 actors. We'll all quarantine together and we'll make like a
so like, and I kind of forgot while we're watching this that it was a pandemic movie. Was filmed in pandemic, is that right?
No, it wasn't. It was like it was delayed a bunch of times.
Oh, okay. Because there's
I think it might have actually been scheduled for like end of 2019 or something. Okay. And then there were reshoots, and then there were rumors they wanted to tie it into Spider-Man or whatever. Okay. And then the pandemic was a convenient excuse. I think it was meant to be out 2020, or I think it went from like 2019, 2020, and then only eventually, like, I remember it got pushed back a bunch of times because me and a friend in Canada were really looking forward to it, and we were like, for God's sake, like, just release Morbius on streaming. That's the only way anyone is going to watch this, is if they can do it from home, and also there's no better options available.
That does surprise me.
This was shot prior to the pandemic. They can't use that excuse.
I mean, it's because like even in the scene we're just talking about when he's in his lab with his partner, they're the only ones there.
Yeah.
And even in the scene behind
scene
behind me, and there's one person, you know. There's no one.
Well, Kyle, in the lab, he's like killing bats and mice. Like, he's doing like unethical experiments. You don't want anyone party to that.
I know, but like surely there's a janitor or something, or there's going to be some. And this is where I'm expecting like a Spider-Man. Like, I'm expecting, if you're wanting to go in the Spider-Man universe, there is a janitor that you have to sneak past so you can dissect the rats or bats or whatever. There is a little comic relief or foil that you have to give donuts to get past or something. There's gonna have to be something, like, make him cheeky almost.
You know how, like, in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, the Osborns have that butler, Bernard,
Yeah.
who, like, saves the day because, like, when Harry is trying to kill Spider-Man, Bernard's like, oh, like, now that you've got your face blown up, I probably should have mentioned, like, actually, like, I looked after your dad's body when he was killed, and it was the glider that killed him, not Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
But he has that weird butler.
Yeah.
We should have brought Bernard in to be like,
right,
sir, are you experimenting on bats again?
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Well, like, just some sort of Bruce Campbell can come walking in, you know, like doing his rounds or something, and you have to turn the lights off quickly because you're up to no good, and the lab's maybe shut 10 hours ago or something. Like, just make it. And this goes on, and, like, I promise everyone we will talk about the film more, but the world is so empty. Like, there is nobody here. It is just fucking Jared Leto and Matt Smith and Jared fucking about for an hour and a half. There's no one apart from his lab partner whose name I can't remember. I'm gonna look her up.
Imagine if this wasn't, like, pre-pandemic and they were like, this was a coronavirus movie where they're like, oh, Dr. Michael Morbius brings the coronavirus back from Costa Rica because he, like, eats a bat. And he's, like, patient zero.
Exactly.
And so that's why everything's empty, is because everyone's self-isolating. And he's like, no, I need to produce the vaccine.
And that's how you fix this film. Like, you picked the wrong bat. You picked the Wuhan bats. So the female is called Dr. Martin Bancroft. And she's played by...
Dr. Martin Bancroft?
Yeah, like, and that's
okay.
Adria
I'm renaming her.
Arjona.
She's Dr. Michaela Morbius from now on.
And Jared Harris is Dr. Emil Nicholas. You could have said any names there for me. And then, according to this, there's 2 FBI agents, and that is it. So I'm going to take that. Anyway, so where are we?
He's just returned from Costa Rica, and Dr. Michaela Morbius is in the lab with him, and he's doing, like, his experiments, delivering exposition. That's where he delivers the clunker of, like, I need to save my best friend Milo.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, like, what are you doing with these bats? And then he reveals that he has, like, a big bat vortex. Like, he has a tube filled with Costa Rica bats.
Yes, quite a lot of them.
And that's when you asked me. It's a ton, yeah. Presumably he was like, he took one and then he was like, well, that one's going to need a friend. And then, like, 2 might, like, I don't know, that's a bit weird. So we'll give them, like, a third one. So there's kind of like, you know what, let's just take all of them. That's where he does need a sidekick. You're right. He needs a Bruce Campbell. He needs an Igor. Yeah. He needs, like, a Renfield. Morbius is Renfield.
Imagine Bruce being like, Mr. Michael, do you not know how long it took me to smuggle these fucking bats in or something, you know? One at a time, Michael, and something, just some... Get Michael Caine to give him a monologue, just something.
Yeah.
Because that's when I asked you how he got those fucking bats in. A, smuggled them out, got them into his lab, got them into this bat chamber. Like, it's stupid.
What if that was how he got them back? Was like he needed that many because he made like a little suit out of the bats, like a hot air balloon. He just filled a big net, and they sort of like flew to New York and just carried him.
Give me a bit like the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory remake. You know, when Johnny Depp's hunting down for the Oompa Loompas. And he's going, give me that. Give me that.
When Johnny Depp's doing a colonialism.
Yeah, get Jared Leto into some colonialism. Get him hunting down bats. Like, but anyway, we're getting way off topic. We need to get back on, or we're never going to actually get through this fucking film.
Okay, so that was when you asked me, like, he was experimenting with the bats, and you were like, wait, hang on, he's not a vampire already?
Yeah.
And I was... I guess we're speaking over text, so you maybe couldn't tell my tone and how much scorn there was. I was like, no, Kyle, you imbecile. Of course he's not a vampire. Of course he's not a vampire. The experimentation is what makes him a vampire. Here, he's just a guy with a rare blood disease that makes him look very much like a vampire. Like, he's all pale and frail. And oddly, like, when he becomes a vampire, it makes him hotter. Like, he becomes tan, he becomes ripped.
Yep, like, I don't get it. I thought he looked, and the only difference is he has to put his hood up. It's the only fucking thing that's different. So yeah, maybe this is my ignorance, my naivete, because I don't know the Morbius character. I don't know the lore. I just thought this was, hey, there's a film about a vampire gonna find a cure. But no. He's got to become a vampire first. And this is like a problem I have.
Hubris.
Every fucking superhero movie is, I don't need an origin story for Morbius. Like, I didn't need it for Blade, you know, just throw me in, just go for it.
Well, Blade's different, because Blade's origin story is just like his parents. Blade isn't like
we don't need him experimenting though. We don't need it. I know you are a Morbius diehard canon.
I'm a Morb head. I'm like, give me this Frankenstein story about, oh, interesting, he is the ultimate monster. Oh. So anyway, Morbius goes off to international waters because he's going to be doing some unethical experiments. He doesn't want PETA or like the state of New York to shut him down. So he goes off onto a boat with a bunch of mercenaries and Dr. Michael Morbius, and he makes himself into a vampire.
Yeah.
And then he kills everyone.
Yeah, apart from the female doctor. She's smart. She's like, no, don't shoot him, don't hurt him. And everyone else is like, what the fuck? Yeah. There's a vampire, kill it. So yeah, and again, like, this is, I can't actually remember, but it doesn't feel like there's a lot of people it kills. It doesn't feel like it feels like on this international boat in the waters, there's 4 people aboard or something.
Yeah,
and
like the ratio of...
Yeah, it's such an empty, big location, big set, or big green screen, and it's so empty and it's so weird. And I get it, if you're doing like an illicit kind of experiments, you might have to do a bit undercover, but like, it looks so, this is jarring to me, like, this is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, he attacks and kills some of the guards and then regains his focus, right?
Yeah, like, I think it's, he becomes a vampire and he's really hungry, and then he kills the guards and drinks their blood, and that kind of brings him back down. Where he's like, okay. And so then he runs some experiments, and he discovers that he has been imbued with incredible strength and speed and heightened senses. He has that weird ear thing where he gets hairy ears, which kind of grosses me out.
Yeah.
And it
like
gives
sonar,
him
yeah.
Yeah, but his ears sprout loads of little hairs. It's just...
You can bounce a ball really well.
But unfortunately, those bouncing ball skills have come at a cost of he needs to drink blood.
Yeah.
And so he kind of locks himself in solitary confinement and tries to work out how long he can go without blood.
Mm-hmm. And
then eventually he adopts like a sustainable, ethical diet where he just drinks
the artificial blood, isn't it?
Like, he drinks like sort of like plant-based blood. He drinks his like lab-grown blood, and that's how we know that he's a good guy. So he has those little blood bags, and he's not killing people. And then we start to notice Dr. Michael Morbius isn't killing anyone, but a series of vampire murders are being reported across the city.
Yes.
And Dr. Michael Morbius then gets arrested.
Mm-hmm.
Do we remember how he gets arrested?
No. I remember the next.
Does he turn himself in?
No, the FBI agents are talking to him about something else, aren't they?
Yeah, they come to the lab, don't they? And he just goes quietly.
And he's all weird and vampire-y, and then they get a call that there's been more killings, I think. And then they're like, oh, you're not going out. You've got to come with us. Yeah, you've got to come with us to the station. He goes to the station anyway. He goes to the police station with them. Because one of the FBI guys says they saved him because of his artificial blood, and he was, thankful for him and stuff. But anyway, they arrest him, and Milo comes on the scene, doesn't he? We've kind of messed up the chronology here. By this point in time, Milo knows that Dr. Michael Morbius has experimented on himself and cured his condition, because he's like, hey, give me some of that sweet, sweet vampire juice. And Jared Leto's like, no, trust me, like, you don't want this. Like, it's not good. No.
And Milo's like, Why should you get to be better? I've suffered my whole life. I'm gonna bloody die, Michael.
I mean, at this point, honestly, just to even speed this up, not fucking much happens. If we're being deadly honest, he gets angry because he's hungry and wants to eat people and drink blood. He drinks a dead nurse blood, didn't he? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Basically, Milo kills people and then Morbius tries to hunt him down. That's it.
Well, this is where Milo visits him in hospital, and Milo drops off a little packet of blood for him.
Yeah.
And that stops Dr. Michael Morbius from dying, and then he breaks out of jail, and then the film pretty much just speeds up into that cat and mouse chase.
It's just it's like, so I don't, and I know we haven't done this for a lot of the films, but to break down scene by scene here and kind of go through plot, there isn't much of a fucking plot here. There isn't anything. No. This is Jared Leto and Matt Smith frolicking and finding each other and fighting. Like, that's it. With this side character, Mrs. Morpheus.
You said this feels like a 2002 film.
Yeah.
And it is like a massive throwback in that regard, where it feels like something like Catwoman, where it's just like, you know what, like, this is what people want to see. Like, we set up, like, someone, they get superpowers, they have a fight, and that is the story. And that's when I said to you, if this was really made in 2002, we would get promotional Morbius Capri Suns, because they kind of look like his blood packets. Like, I can see, like, Pizza Hut having Dr. Michael Morbius on boxes.
Well, so,
this movie was made for tat.
But that's also, like, one thing that a little surprised me about this, because this is a Sony film. There isn't Sony Vios and Sony Xperia phones everywhere. Like, the actual, and I'm used to Sony, you know, like, being in every fucking film they make.
Yeah.
The marketing,
the bonds.
Yeah, like the product placement in here was quite minimal. Maybe even they didn't want their fucking products in it. Who knows? But when I said it
that may be it.
It felt like
a movie about a vampire pedophile is not a good
not a good brand for us. So let's just let's just let it slide under. But I meant it looked like a 2002 film, as in the subway scene behind me looked straight out of Blade 3 or Spider-Man 2 or something. It looked the effects, you know, like when they're actually on top of New York, or when they're outside, or there's exterior shots, it looks like Catwoman. It looks like it looks so dated, and obviously the actual special effects for the vampires as well aren't, like, when you're comparing it even to Blade or something, they're not that far apart. When you're 25, 30 years apart, it's so strange that this film costs so much, because I'm used to so when I like I say, I don't enjoy these superhero films anymore. But usually there's some sort of spectacle, like, you know, the end games and stuff. There's set pieces and things that I'll at least enjoy. When everything is just minimal and dark and boring and shot so mundane, like just blue tints and shadows everywhere, about people I don't give a fuck about, I find it so hard to care. And maybe when we do our Catwoman review, like, I'll echo similar things, but I bet you, and I haven't seen Catwoman, I bet you that's got some personality into it. It's got some sort of humor or some sort of awareness that this doesn't have. Because this is it. This is, Morbius and Milo are going to fight each other and hunt each other down, and the FBI are going to try and find Morbius to do fuck knows what, because what are you going to do to a vampire? And then they have a fight, and then Mrs. Morbius dies, and that's it. That's the film. What more do you want me to say?
This was kind of my take at the time. Was this almost feels like a piece of performance art, or it's like some postmodernist MCU film where they're just like, if we just strip out, like, everything that makes a movie, what are we left with? Like, how much can we remove if we just remove, like, any kind of story, any kind of interesting characters? We're going to have the structural layout of an MCU film, but without, like, the actual substance. So they're like, oh, do people still care about like Easter eggs if they like don't give a shit about what's setting up? Like, are post-credit scenes just inherently exciting? Like, if someone sees a face they recognize, does that get a reaction?
I mean, I agree with you. Not that this is performance art, because it's not. But like, I agree on that. Like, because anyway, even this is jumping a little bit ahead. The post-credit scene in this film with Michael Keaton playing the Vulture, I think.
Adrian Toomes, I can remember his name. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good for you. It took me a solid like beat to click. I was like, there's Michael Keaton.
Oh my god, it's Batman.
There's Batman. Great, it's a crossover. And then no, he's not. He's someone Coombs. And then I was like, who the fuck's that again? And then he appears again as the Vulture. And I was like, oh yeah, he was in a Spider-Man film. I think like I have the problem where they all blend in together and they all become this like monotonous dredge of just blah. But this I will not like remember. I remember the Vulture, kind of, but I'll never remember anything about this. And maybe there are more heads out there and stuff that are obsessed with this and they are going to pop for those post-credits. I think there's not going to be many, though. I think, like, if you're trying to... Not something like a Venom, which is a bit more, like, pop culture, everyone knows who Venom is, anyone who knows who this and that is. You can go into these spin-offs and have these minor characters, but you can't. I just don't think you can do it with Morbius. And I don't think... And if you can, maybe in your version, but I don't think whoever directed this...
I don't disagree. I think you can make a good Morbius movie, but I don't disagree, and I realise we've done a terrible job once again in grounding this for anyone who isn't terminally online. So one thing I will set up a little bit more is this film was released and it flopped, and then people made it into a meme, they joked about it, and Sony was then like, oh, hang on, wait, like, the kids, they like Morbius. Let's get some of that sweet, sweet Minions cash and we'll re-release it. So we didn't market it well, but now TikTok's done the work and people are going to be here for Morbius. Let's release it again at, like, expense to us because we're going to be, like, booking up all these screens, and it flopped again.
Which is perfect.
Exactly, it sums it up. The idea of Morbius is better than the reality. Oh, yeah. Like, the memes are funny, like, Morbius as a concept is funny, like, the notion of this film is funny, but you watch it, and there's just nothing. You're like, oh, this isn't a good time at all. Like, it's not good, it's not bad, like, it's nothing. Well, it's just a void.
That's exactly it. And I think closest comparison we can make is Fantastic Four. And there is some similarities. We did get some vibes, but that was and that wasn't a good film. Like, go listen to our episode, but it had interesting the way it was patchwork together. There was moments of something in there, like it didn't come together, but there was a movie in there. I'm sure we did say that before. There is not a movie in Morbius. There is not something you can chip away at, re-edit and redo. You'd have to from the ground up start again. There's nothing. There's just nothing here, and it does. And I kind of got this in maybe about half an hour, 45 minutes in. I realized there was going to be nothing fun anyway. Like, there's not going to be any set pieces. There's not going to be any bombastic anything. It's just going to be Matt Smith and Jared Leto gurning at each other and pulling faces and just
The content to this movie is like it's like a previously on Morbius. It's like a 30-second recap. That's the entire plot of Morbius. Is give me Morbius 2 and play this entire film like in the 30 seconds beforehand, and I'll be like, okay, great. That's what happened in the last one. But there's just nothing here. And I remember people like this sparked a big like discussion about like queer readings of vampires in cinema and literature, and to the degree that there is like a sort of like thematic weight to this, the love story between Milo and Dr. Michael Morbius kind of feels like if you're going to put something in the film, if you're going to inject the film with anything, it kind of has that Fantastic Beasts Dumbledore Grindelwald thing of like, oh, they're lovers who like don't want to fight but have to, but like that's not there.
No,
It's just kind of that weird like anti-chemistry of like, hey, we're Spartans,
yeah,
we're like ancient Greeks, and
I think there is something interesting in there because, like, you know, vampires are inherently homoerotic. You know, like Interview with a Vampire, Twilight.
Yeah.
I kind of, you know, like they could have had that relationship built upon more, and you could have used some symbolism in there with vampirism. You know, like the Cure and all this. You could have had them playing with it. You could have had all this great, like, subtle metaphors throughout. But no.
You haven't seen Luca, have you?
I have not. Is that film?
Luca is the Pixar movie with the Mermaid Boys, or like the Sea Monster Boys, and it's basically like Call Me by Your Name, but if they were Call Me by Your Name meets Shape of Water.
Okay.
And that's really interesting because that's basically like, hey, being a sea monster is being gay. And there's like a scene where one of the sea monsters outs the other sea monster to the village who hate them. And that there's a similar thing here where Michael Morbius is like, no, we need to be in a closet. Like, we can't be who we are. And Milo's like, no, it's great, Morbius. Like, have sex, like, kill people, like, dance on pride parades. And so that's kind of there. You can sort of see the dynamic.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if it's intentional though.
Yeah, like I think Sony are too dumb to do anything intentionally without making it like super obvious. I think that's just sort of like an accidental thing. Like people have said, like Venom 2 is like an iconic like queer movie because he goes to a gay bar and it's like, I'm not gonna let Eddie keep me in the closet anymore. So basically, I'm much more here for the LGBTQSSU of there's clearly like some gay exec at Sony who's just trying to stealth in the subtext to all their weird Sony Spider-Man movies. But yeah, if you were going to put something in it to make it a movie, that would probably be where it's there. But one of my friends and a complete vampire aficionado, she said like to the extent that like this is about anything, it's about like managing chronic illness, which again is kind of there in the opening when they're dealing with this like disease, and it's kind of similar to the Fantastic Four. People go to the negative zone and become disabled. Dr. Michael Morbius is like, no, like we have a burden, we have like a duty to protect people and to help people. Whereas Milo's like, no, we've been shafted for 30 years. Like, let's have sex.
No, I see
he
that.
doesn't. For those who haven't seen the film, he dances to a song called "Have Sex." I realize this might seem like I'm a lunatic to anyone who hasn't seen the film, but one of the iconic scenes is Matt Smith dancing around topless to have sex.
It is the only moment in the film as well where there is some joy or some movement. Because again, the score's broken up for at least we have something. You know, there's not just the continuous bombarding of bomb. There's actually some music, and it's colourful, it's bright, it's shot nicely, and it's Spider-Man 3, and I like Spider-Man 3. I like him getting evil, I like him getting his groove on. I kind of for a moment just thought, okay, we're gonna go have some fun here. He's gonna do something fun, but no. How naive.
Yeah.
It's all fucking crashing down after that.
Okay, so to wrap this up, how you would fix this movie? I've kind of given my answer there, I think.
I mean, I agree with you. My first solution is make Cocktail, but instead of cocktails, they're vampires.
My god, you have cracked.
Now, play it up.
Like you can have that with if he's making a cocktail with the artificial blood.
Perfect. You barely have to change anything. You could CGI some teeth in, like easy days.
Dr. Michael Morbius behind the bar in Kokomo as Matt Smith comes in.
I guess I like your idea of what Morbius could have been. And I don't know if this is ever going to be happening because of the state of the universe or whatever the fuck it's called. But I would be down for Blade versus Morbius. Morbius and Blade.
Yeah.
Like an actual cat and mouse, because this is one of my biggest problems that I didn't even speak about. Morbius is our hero. He is an anti-hero or whatever though. But he's a whiny fucker when he's Jared Leto, and then he's a murderous cretin when he's a vampire. Like I'm not rooting for him. If he was played up as the villain completely, and I guess they might, I don't know, I've not seen Venom, maybe they did the dynamic better in that. But yeah, like he's such a shit anti-hero that if you give me Blade hunting him down and let him become a pantomime villain, I might get something out of it. But yeah, if with the current like ingredients you have to use, I couldn't make a good film out of Jared Leto and Matt Smith fucking about his vampires. I hate this.
Well, what you I remember in the past, going back to our Asda days, I think you used to pitch your Venom movie to me, which was you were like, it's like the good, the bad, and the ugly. Is Venom's like in the middle, and Carnage is like the bad, and Spider-Man's the good, and you have that sort of like
the three-way
that's kind of what you would do with this. Yeah, that's what you do with this. Is you've got Milo is the actual pure evil, Morbius is the sort of like grey, and then you've got a Blade figure hunting. Essentially, it's Batman versus Superman of Blade's hunting Morbius while Morbius is hunting Milo, and then he realizes like, oh no,
You could do so my pitch for that, again, just stealing from the good, the bad, the ugly, is I wanted Spider-Man, Venom and Carnage. Venom and Carnage team up because they're the symbiotes and they have to take, down Spider-Man. Venom learns, oh fuck, Carnage is psycho, I have to help Spider-Man now and save my own ass. Do that exact same thing here. Morbius and Milo wrecking shit, and then Morbius realizes, oh no, Milo's a psychopath, I better help Blade and save my own skin.
Yeah.
Done. Give me, build up some characters, because this film did not build up anybody. And I'm okay with like that singular focus on character. I don't need a big cast. I don't need Endgame and 300 people. But if you build up the minimal people you've got, at least make me care. Like you can. So yeah, you could make a Morbius film. I agree with you. I bet you can make a really good animated film as well. But this isn't it.
What do we think for Razzies? You've already said that you think Leto's gonna beat Fox, and you think this is gonna beat Hunter.
I think this is gonna win Worst Picture. I think this is gonna win Worst Lead and Worst Supporting for Jared and Matt. I don't think Mrs. Morbius will get nominated. I think she'll get a pass.
She's not a big enough name.
She's not a big enough name.
And she's not in the film, really.
And yeah, exactly. And I think the director might get a pass. Just because I don't think he's a big enough name. I think that's where maybe My Son Hunter might get the nod.
Interesting.
But I don't know. I could be wrong. I just don't see this picking up well. And this isn't directed well at all, but it's not directed. But it's just, again, it's a TV movie.
It's anonymous.
Yeah, it's anonymous. It's nothing.
Yeah.
And it might pick up worst screenplay, but my definite banking on is Worst Picture, Worst Lead, and Worst Supporting.
I don't know if I'm as confident as you. I think it's another one where we have to, like, you've got the sort of like the narrative, and I don't know what's the stronger narrative, is Mr. Razzie's hatred of conservatives or the meme of Morbius. I don't know what's going to win out there.
It's also thinking like, what's his name? I think Colin Trevorrow, the Jurassic World boy, he will probably win Worst Director.
Oh, true. Yeah.
I think it's going to be someone that's more of a name will win the Worst Director, or whoever did Fantastic Beasts 10 or whatever. But Colin Trevorrow for the last Jurassic World, because that will get nominated as well. But this will win Worst Picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just thinking how he'll think. He'll want to dunk on those names.
We're going Mindhunter here, where we're just getting inside the head of Mr. Razzie.
So we're going to be
I
cancelled.
think my tip is like this is nailed on for remake, rip-off, sequel, whatever.
Oh yeah, okay, I forgot about
Like that's it, it's like an absolute shoe-in for that category. I think that Jared Leto will tip Jared Leto will pip Lawrence Fox to worst actor because he's like a bigger name and also he's like a bad person.
that. Yeah.
So I think the morality element, not to say that Lawrence Fox isn't a bad person, but you're not gonna get points in America for like trashing the Reclaim Party.
No. Very different.
So I think Jared Leto for actor. I think My Son Hunter. I'm prepared to eat my words, but I think My Son Hunter might do picture. I think as Morbius will get recognition, but it might not win.
Okay, we'll see. If I'm correct, we're watching Blade 3.
I'm refusing to open my eyes. Just like Wesley Snipes, so they had to like CGI his eyes open. I'm gonna keep them closed the entire time throughout that film.
Yeah, just like Ryan Reynolds, I refuse to be in the same scene as you. We'll have to film separately.
Matt Smith. Do you think Matt Smith is Razzie worthy here?
Yeah, I do. Like I say, he's one of my. I think he's Garen, and I like Matt Smith for the record. I enjoy him in other things. He is bad in my opinion in this because, yeah, he's hammy. Yeah, he chews up the scenery a little bit, but not enough. Not enough fun. Because the film's not fun either. He has terrible chemistry with everybody. I think Matt Smith's guaranteed. And again, it's a big name. It's a bigger name than whoever played Joe Biden. I can see it. I maybe the Jurassic Park cameos in the new Jurassic World, might get a nomination just because, but I can see Matt Smith taking it.
We will do a preview show for the Razzies and we'll have more time to think about it, but just off the top of my head, I think you're forgetting that Harry Styles might qualify as supporting actor for Don't Worry Darling.
Okay. See, Don't Worry Darling could change things. Yeah, it could change things.
Yeah, he's either going to be like a packed lead actor field, or he could be like a front runner for supporting actor.
Okay.
We also have John David Washington in Amsterdam, and I can't believe I think I said to you at the time, but like prior to thinking about Jared Leto and Lawrence Fox, I thought this was going to be Marky Mark's opportunity to take home the Razzie with Father Stew.
Yeah. No, okay. No, fair. Okay, no, so yeah, when we do a roundup, there is ones I don't know why I've just got fucking Jurassic Park on the brain, but when we go through the predictions, yeah, you're right. There's actual. I could be wrong, but based off the evidence of this movie, My Son Hunter, 3 guarantees, I think.
Mm-hmm. I'm very confident with Jared Leto, and I think the others are probably locks for nominations at the very least, and whether they win will just be down to like the arbitrary preferences of Mr. Razzie.
Absolutely.
All I was gonna say is like Matt Smith must be like so grateful for House of the Dragon, because I'm similar to you. I didn't love him as Doctor Who, but Matt Smith crops up and his small parts in like. He's interesting enough as a character that I'm like, oh, like I kind of think I like him. And then this sort of tipped me a bit negative where I was like, I don't really like Matt Smith. And then House of the Dragon came out and I'm like, oh no, Matt Smith's great. What? Yeah, well, I was a fool.
I mean, I agree with you because I'm not a Doctor Who man, and yeah, the last film before I was based off was Terminator, not Genesis, Genesis. But it was that oh fuck, what's the film called? 2 seconds. Last Night in Soho. I really enjoyed him in that. I thought he was really good fun in that.
He's really good in that. Yeah.
And that was like the first one that kind of tipped me over, and Funnily enough,
Well, you just like him because he's maybe playing the younger version of your beloved Terence Stamp, isn't he?
yeah, well, yeah, but maybe he's also he also won me around a little bit because he's in an episode of This Time with Alan Partridge, and he actually has good. I actually really found him funny. So I actually given him a chance, and then House of Dragon as well, like you said. I've warmed up to him a lot more. It's not like I think he's like a reverse of David Tennant, who was someone I loved when I was younger, and then I've grown colder on as time's gone on. So yeah, he's like a reverse. I like him. I'm not gonna rip on him. He's no Pia Zadora, but he's all right.
That concludes this episode. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, guys.
If you could leave us a review on iTunes or whatever podcasting platform you use, that would be much appreciated and would really help the show out, help us find a wider audience. You can follow us on all the social media platforms where we are watching Worst. You can email us with any feedback or comments at watchingworstfilms@gmail.com. And you can join us next time when we'll be heading back to 1992 with the film Shining Through.
Hey, can't wait. Back to the 90s, finally. Closer to my safe space.
Okay,
Excellent.
catch you there.
See you there, guys. Thanks for listening.